So if we go to the review page, we want the flashcards to be displayed straight away by the animated list when the page loads. And in review page, we have the animated list widget, and we're going to get the data back from the database as a future. So therefore, we'll wrap the animated list in a future builder. So therefore, we can update the animated list when that data is ready. We want to pass in the future. So this will be database manager dot select words. So this will return all of the words as a future. We'll change the child to a builder. We'll have a context and also a snapshot, which will give us access to the data. Now I'm just going to change the arrow into a block body, and now we can write in some code. So firstly, we need to check if we have data. So to do that, we can use snapshot has data. So this will return a Boolean value of true or false. If we do have data, we want to return the animated list. So let's wrap this in curly braces. And then if we do have data, we want to populate the animated list. So therefore, we want to use the insert words method to insert the words into the animated list. So insert words, this is the private method. And now we want to insert the list of words. To do that, snapshot.data. So this will be the list of data. And we need to explicitly cast this using the as keyword as a list of word. Now, if we do not have data, then we need to return something. So therefore, we can use else, and instead we'll return nothing, aka a size box. Wrap that in curly braces. So if we do have data, we'll return the animated list, and if we don't, we'll just return the size box. Okay, let's do a hot reload. And cool, we have 3 word tiles showing up. Let's add in the English and put in the opinion too. So we've got grasshopper, tiger, and juice. Now you may have noticed the animation did not run, the fly in animation. So to get the animation working, we can just wrap this in a widgets binding callback, and that'll solve that problem. So widgets binding dot instance, add post frame callback, cut this line of code, paste it inside the callback, and that seems to trigger the animation. So we will now have that running. So let's do a hot restart and we'll jump back in. Okay, cool. So we have the cards flying in. Now we also have a second issue, and that is the tile color and the border seems to drop off when it animates in. So I'm not sure exactly why that's happening, but we can fix that with a bit of a workaround. So if we jump into configs, go to themes. So for some reason, the list tile theme is not applying properly. So if that's the case, let's just remove the color and also the border. We can keep the text and icon color as white. That doesn't seem to be affected. We'll then jump into the word tile widget. So we'll wrap the list tile with a container. We can then use the decoration property and box decoration. We'll set the border radius as circular, pass in the constant, circular border radius. For the border property, we'll use border.all. We'll set the color to white. And the width we'll set as 2. And for the background color, we'll use the primary color. Okay, so now we should get the same look. Let's jump out of this, hot restart. And cool, we now have a smooth animation again. Now let's jump back into the review page. And the next thing we should look at is when we remove a word card. So by clicking this X icon on the right hand side, we want to also then remove that word from the database. So here we have the remove word method we created inside of this callback in the animated list. So let's scroll down to that. So this is nice and easy. We'll use database manager dot remove word, and then we'll pass in the word, add the async and await keywords. And now we can remove a single word from the database. On the same note, we also want to remove all of the words. So again, and now we have a method remove all words that we created earlier and add the async keyword up here. Okay. Now let's test this. Jump back in. So we've got the 3 words. Let's remove juice. Now let's clear all of the remaining cards, clear cards. Cool, let's jump out. Now if we jump back in, that page should be empty. And great, the page is empty, meaning the words have also been removed from the database table. Now next is we want to create an option so the user can automatically test all of the cards in the review page. So they can just click a button and then go and start testing the cards. So first of all, we'll look at this insert cards button. So we'll update the name. So we don't need to insert cards anymore. We'll name this test all. Remove all of the code inside of the callback. So now when we click this button, we want to navigate to the review page and test all of the cards. Firstly, we need to go to Flashcards notifier. We have a method generate selected words. Our selected words will be set to all of the words by the topic. And that's all the words we've got saved in the words file here. But if we're in the review page, we want to populate selected words differently. So first of all, we can create a condition. If topic is not equal to review, so topic is the variable in this class, and if we're in the review page, we would have set topic as review. So we can populate selected words differently. And I'm also going to cut selected words and paste this inside these brackets. So let's jump back to the review page. So we want to populate the selected words variable. So we can access that variable in the Flashcards notifier using provider. So we'll use the static of method, import the provider library, Flashcards notifier, set listen to false, import the library, and I'm going to store this in a variable provider. So first of all, we'll access selected words and we want to clear the list. Now we want to populate selected words. Now one way we could do this, of course, is by using the review words variable. But in this case, let's keep using the database manager for this example, and we can run select words, which will also easily give us the ability to select a limited number of words. We can now use the then callback. So this is just a different way to access the value the future returns us. So the data we'll get back from the future will be the words. So when we get back the words, we'll populate selected words by setting that to words to list. So therefore, all of the words we get back from the future will be populated to selected words. And once we've done that, the final thing is we need to navigate to the flashcards page. So we use navigator, push replacement, material page route, and we'll push on the flashcards page. And we'll create one more button that will be very similar. So I'll copy the first button, paste this again. Instead of test all, we'll name this quick test. And here, using select words, we can pass in the amount we want to draw out. So we could pass in 5 as the default. But in this case, let's just put in 2 just to test this, and then we'll bump that back to 5. So let's see the buttons pop up. Cool, we have test all, quick test, and clear cards. So now let's run this. But before we do that, we need to populate the database again. So let's do that. Okay, so we have 4 cards in the database. Jump back into the review page. We have those cards popping up. Let's test those cards. And awesome, we can test these cards really easily now. So this is great. Jump back in. Let's run a quick test. So 1 card and 2 cards, and great. Now we can tick save incorrect cards. Those cards don't duplicate. Let's clear some cards. Clear all cards. Let's add some more cards back to the database. So the next thing I think will look quite good is if we have these cards laid out in alphabetical order. So this is nice and easy to do. We'll come down to the animated list. So we'll create a variable here. We'll set this equal to the snapshot. Now to sort the list, we can use the sort method. Then we can pass in a method which will compare all of the word objects in our list. So we can select a.english. Then on that, we can select compare to b.english. So therefore, we can use this comparison function to compare all of these objects based on the English property, and this will do this alphabetically. So now we'll pass in the sorted list here. So now let's do a hot restart. Jump back in. And awesome, we have the list in alphabetical order.